It was a pleasure to be here, and thank you for the invitation. I'll start with what I thought was appropriate for breaking barriers. When I was asked to speak about breaking barriers, the first thing that came to my mind is this iconic shot. Neil Armstrong on the moon, and the Apollo mission stepping off the lunar module saying, first man on the moon, saying, one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And then it turns to Roger Bannister. He broke the barrier of the 4-minute mile. And only in October, I was watching television, and on there, in Vienna, was this man running. And Eliud Kipchoge is the Kenyan long-distance runner. 26.2 miles, the marathon distance. And he did that under 2 hours, broken the barrier. And it got me thinking, you know, these great feats these people achieve, they set new standards, they set new benchmarks, they prove the fact that certain things can be done. And these are great achievements, something that we can be proud of, something we can actually use as in our everyday life to actually inspire us. And there's nothing that I think of that we can't do, not through my life experiences. And these people achieved it. They've set the benchmarks, they've set the standards, they've done the proving. But these events, they take place. We may witness them every 10 years, once in a lifetime, maybe. But what about the everyday? What about me? You know, after all, I don't have the mandate from the President of the United States to build a team to go to the moon. I think my wife would like me to go there. But, you know, I don't have the super athleticism of a sprinter or a long-distance runner. And there must be many, many other problems out there, many barriers. And not everything has to be a moonshot. Not everything has to be a world record. They're everyday things. And it got me thinking, you know, what about me? What can I learn from this? What is it that takes to do something exceptional, something more than the everyday life, getting out of bed and going to the work, coming back, doing the routine things every day? What is it that makes people, drives them? And there must be some commonalities. What can I learn from them? What are the requirements to actually achieve, to do something extraordinary, something different? And sometimes it's a necessity. And necessity makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. And I started looking at are there any common points here? What is it that all these people, great organizations, driven by great people, they achieve every single day, every single week? And what is it that they do? What are the commonalities? And we look at breaking barriers. There's certain things. I look at the common denominators that makes this happen. And the first thing I found is that you need vision. You need to clearly define what you want. You need a vision. And you need that vision so clear in your mind, it's so focused that the only thing you can see is that. The only thing that the Apollo mission saw was going to the moon. The only thing that Eliud Kipchoge saw was breaking the 2-hour mark. The only thing Roger Bannister saw was breaking the 4-mile barrier, the 4-minute barrier. And that vision was instilled. So the next thing they needed was the belief. Can I do this? The people behind it, they needed to be convinced. And they can only do that if they themselves are convinced. They needed that deep belief. It had to flow through their blood. It had to flow through their veins. They needed to breathe it. They needed to live it. And doing that, that belief translates to other people who come along and they also support you. They believe in your vision. And that belief then needs to be turned to dedication. You need to be totally dedicated in what you do. You need every single waking minute, sleeping. You need to live that life. You need to actually strain every sinew in your body, every pumping beat in your heart, You need that dedication. It's got to be undying. Nobody can strive you away from it, no matter what happens. You're going to do it. You're going to achieve that. And the next thing is that the people around you need to believe that. You need people to support you. You need people with you. Without that, you're nowhere. Whether it's your family, whether it's your work colleagues, or whether it's your bank that's supporting you, it's any kind of institution, the wider community, it has to be accepted. And you need to be able to collaborate with people. And those people who would not normally collaborate with you, not even be in your industry, they may come along with a different idea. They may come along with something else. And if we look at all this, team collaboration, people doing it, 400,000 people working on the Apollo program, 20,000 different companies, thousands of universities. It was a total collaboration. No one single person can do it, no matter how good you are. So you need people, you need teams. There are teams of people behind Eliud Kipchoge. There are people who research the ideal temperature for him to run in, the place, the time difference from Kenya up to Vienna, the timing, all the people that were supporting him up front. Everything had to be coordinated. And then you need to practice. You need to do something. You need to do it day in and day out. You need to do it again and again and again. And with that, you get the experience. And experience, I found, is something that you will pay for. You can't buy it. You cannot buy it. If you went to somewhere and say, please, could you give me experience for doing this, and instill it in yourself, you can't do it. You've got to go through the pain. You've got to make the mistakes. And with those mistakes, series of mistakes, because that's what experience is. It's a series of mistakes. You find a way how not to do something. You keep finding a way how not to do something. Keep finding a way how not to do something. But I found that I learned a lot. I learned a lot in this, that experience will stand you, and that's why you keep doing the same thing, keep repeating it until you perfect it. And then you improve upon that. And timing is crucial. When they took off for the Apollo mission, it had to be timed. At a particular time, a particular place, you need to be at a particular place to do the right thing at the right time. You try to do it at the wrong time, it won't work. Although all your preparations in place, everything else is there, the timing is crucial. Timing for Eliud to be in Vienna. There was a timing when the car in front of him was projecting beams on the front, and he had to be in perfect time. He had to keep 2 minutes and 50 seconds per kilometer. Timing for everything down to the nanosecond. And if you got the timing right, and you got the vision, you got the belief, you got the dedication, you got the team sport, you got the practice, you got the experience, you perfected it. The timing is absolutely crucial. And when you've done that, you can repeat it again. You can do it in a different experience. What you've done here, you can translate elsewhere. Now, how does this relate to me? I look at it and I thought about the bigger problems, maybe the barriers. I went from the Punjab region at the age of 10, 4 days short, in August 1969. And I was there, used to the hot weather in Punjab, used to the Punjabi language, used to Punjabi food, used to Punjabi culture. And I'd done I was into the 4th grade at school. And I'd learned in those days, to write on a slate and what we had, no computers, no books, etc. And I landed in a strange country. The weather was different. The food was different. The culture was different. The language was different. And I didn't know where I was, what I was doing. But we were there. And one thing I noticed while we were there was the fact that I had to adapt. I had to change. Necessity was going to be the mother of invention. I had to do these things. And that, for me, was a way to learn and the way to adapt and the way I got my experiences. The first experience I got was going with my father, 3 months into school, junior school. He frog marched me over snowy, icy pavements, 5 miles. And he took me to a place where somebody, he found out, had a house for sale. And he asked me to interpret it for him. He said, "We want to buy this house, son." I said, "Papa, I don't know any English." He says, "You've been to school for 3 months." And somehow, we managed to communicate. Somehow, with gestations or otherwise, we ended up buying that house. And we ended up being there, the guy giving me lift back. I remember this clearly. I had chilblains in my hands, ill-equipped, tight shoes, only a jumper on, icy winds. And the pain was excruciating. And those were learnings for me. And I knew that we were there then. And there was no choice but to move forward. The house had bare minimums, floorboards, which are in vogue now, but they weren't then. Once a week, we had a bath. Water, warmed in a water bucket, you know. And that's what it was. Fire once a week to keep you warm after the bath. We lived in cold conditions, slept in one bed. But I knew that we had to break this. It was a poverty. And what I did, together with my brother, we got a milk round. He was 7, I was 10. We persuaded this guy somehow to give us a milk round. And we'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning before going to school. And we did the milk round. Then go to school all day, come back, and then, you know, we were glad to be out, to be honest, because it was better conditions than home. It was cold. And we'd go to school. But the milk round was soon up because the police patrolling one day decided that they were too young to do this. But not to be deterred, knowing where my target was, knowing where I was going, knowing that we had to do this, I found myself a paper round, delivering newspapers. So in the morning, before school, I get up, hour and a half, delivering newspapers. 17 stories up and 2 block flat. Sometimes the lift worked, sometimes didn't. Going around 3 miles, delivering newspapers. But it brought us money. In the evening, after school, on Saturday morning, Saturday evening, on Sunday mornings. And this is a lot. So I got myself a bike with a little bit of money that I saved. And I was tooling myself up, and these are my experiences. I knew what my vision was. It was to break that poverty. And I had that belief that I could do it. I had that dedication to do it. And I got my brother enrolled as my team collaborator, you know, and we went round and we perfected the route of delivering the newspapers to maximize it, to minimize the time. And this went on until such time as we got ourselves a part-time job. That part-time job involved doing a Saturday job. And this brought us more money. And what I was finding, though, going to school, was the fact that my English wasn't very good. My colour was different. And I wasn't readily accepted. But one thing I found, I had a strength. Luckily, in India, the maths is one language worldwide, and I learnt it quite well. And I was quite advanced, and some self-taught. And I used to do the homework for other kids, and there was an acceptance. So we did this, and we built on it. We built on it and built on it to a point where we got our own business. We built it into the largest Porsche dealership in Europe. And 10 years later, after that, 10 years ago, I came back to India. Again, a different culture, a different language. I had to relearn all over again. And now we have a system where the entire RTOs are digitized. Every single vehicle is digitized in India. There's efficiency, there's accuracy, there's a system that everybody can use. There's business-led intelligence decisions. And I think the end result is that if you really want to, if the desire is there, you can really do whatever you put your mind to. You can do it. I've done it, and I promise you, anybody here, if they dedicate themselves, if they team up with people, collaborate with people, and they can do it, you can break those barriers. You have it inside you. I'm living proof of it. Thank you.